Hello again, Taylor County. I'm Alex Renham, and I'm here with Mike Manypenny, running for County Commissioner. Mike, thanks for joining us on the program.
Thanks for having me here today, Alex.
Great. Hey, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Well, I'm a farmer. I've been in Taylor County for about 20 years. Originally grew up in the northern Panhandle on a 350-acre farm. I was in the House of Delegates as the representative for Taylor County for 6 years. And it was one of the most rewarding things being a public servant working for the people of Taylor County for those 6 years. I mean, it was one of the most enlightening and rewarding times of my life.
Yeah, great. So I think everybody has their idea what a county commissioner does and is. But can you share what your perspective is on the roles and duties of county commissioner?
Well, I mean, everybody probably has their own perspective on that. I think that the responsibilities of the county commissioner is to look out for the well-being of the county, the health of the county, basically, whether it's economic and the environment that people are living in. I want to make sure that everybody has a clean environment to live in. I want to make sure, that we hold industry accountable for, whether it's a county commission or a state legislator. We need to make sure that industry is held accountable for what they do to the community. I believe that the coal mine and the oil and gas industry are benefits to the county, but I just want to make sure that they don't impair our water quality. I think water is one of the most important and most precious resources we have, and I think that that's one of the things that kind of gets missed in the mix in county politics. We need to make sure that we have a drug-free community. We have to have things for our youth to do to keep them active and keep them off of drugs. We need things for our seniors and families. I mean, we need to make this a family-friendly community. And I think that's some of the things that are missing, and that's some of the things that I want to work on as a county commissioner.
Okay, so you mentioned something about your past, and maybe you can share an experience, a job role, a challenge, something that you feel has prepared you to be an effective leader for our county.
Well, I think being in the West Virginia House of Delegates has given me a lot of insight on what we can do to improve our community and what is necessary as a county commissioner to bring funds back to the county to make sure that we have a good infrastructure, so our roads are paved, our bridges are safe, and our organizations within the community are working together and can collaborate together. That's one of the other things that I think is missing in county politics is the county, the city, and the state representatives need to collaborate more. They need to work together to make sure we're all moving in the same direction. We don't want to be banging heads and not getting anywhere.
Sure.
Also, we need to work with the adjacent counties to collaborate, because we have a lot of cross-border traveling for work. I mean, we're a bedroom community. A lot of people in Taylor County either work in Bridgeport, Clarksburg, or Morgantown. And so those communities are beneficial to us, and we're beneficial to them. I mean, it's a very symbiotic relationship, and I think that those types of collaboration are important. And so we need to have more roundtables to where all of those players sit down at the table and try to come to some type of an agreement and look towards the future.
Yeah, so collaboration is important. We're going to talk about that again a little bit later too, because folks are interested at home. So you're striking a chord there for sure. And not that the county commissioner is a one-trick pony, but if you're fortunate enough to be elected, what would be your number one priority?
Well, I really believe we need to focus on economic development. When I was in the House of Delegates, I had two different companies that wanted to locate at the old Forco plant, and at the time, that county commission, those county commissioners were dealing with Forco, and they had a lease with Forco, and with, I think, a $2 million, if I'm correct. I'm not sure if it's exact or not, but that $2 million loan that Forco was having to make payments on. And so they didn't know the proper legal procedures to go about getting out of that lease in order to bring these other companies in. And I think that that's where the collaboration could have come in with other counties, as well as the city and the state, to try to solve that.
Gotcha.
But really, I think we need to build our community on the strengths that we have. I mean, we're the birthplace of Mother's Day. And I've been working with the WVU Law School on a project to build on that strength of being the birthplace of Mother's Day. And we're working on basically it would be a copyright on this, which I want to try to bring in the Community Development Hub, which spearheaded all aboard Grafton and Turn Your Town Around, to work on this program. And it's to license businesses to come in and sell under the Made in the Birthplace of Mother's Day. And so Hallmark, they would have to, and one of the caveats of getting a license to sell under that program, the company would have to have 50% or 51% or more of their workforce located here in order to be able to sell under that Made in the Birthplace of Mother's Day. And so they would have to pay for that license, and then that money would go into a slush fund, whatever you want to call it, to build and try to attract other businesses into the community. But people like to buy stuff for Mom on Mother's Day that has a special meaning. And if they can get something that says, hey, this was made in Grafton or Taylor County, where Mother's Day was founded, and they can come with a certificate and say, hey, Mom, this is special. This was made in Grafton or Taylor County, the birthplace of Mother's Day. And I think that there's companies out there that would want to locate here and sell under that type of license. Craft jewelers, blown glass. I think the possibilities are unlimited. But anyways, the law school is working on that for me right now. And I have contacted Stephanie Tyree of the Community Development Hub and asked her to look into getting some grant money to try to get this up and running.
Yeah, great. It's an interesting concept. So let's play that forward a little more. The fact, okay, so you're a commissioner. How many, maybe it's one term, multiple terms, whatever. At the end of your run as county commissioner, what would you want your legacy to be? How would you want to be remembered as Mike Manypenny, the county commissioner?
Well, I don't know if it's so much being remembered as a county commissioner, but to know that, I've made the community a better place to live.
Okay, great. What do you think is, you mentioned a lot of things we're up against, but what do you think is our biggest challenge here in the county?
I mean, there are so many, and of course, like I said earlier, I think trying to create economic development for jobs is probably key. But we, like any county in West Virginia, we have a big drug problem, and some areas of Taylor County are worse than others. And at the last Meet the Candidate forum, Sheriff Austin asked, what can you do to help me fight the drug problem? And one of the things that we found out when I was in the legislature was that we can't incarcerate our way out of the substance abuse epidemic. They have done studies, and it's been found out that the best way to deal with substance abuse is when you can identify it or identify somebody on drugs, is to get them help, get them treatment. And it's not short-term treatment like what's going on now. It's long-term. It's a year or more. And get them away from the environment that contributes to their habit. They may be associating with some other bad players in the community or something. You have to isolate them from that a long enough time and get them clean enough to be able to know that they can beat that epidemic.
Yeah. It's a challenge at all levels, and it's certainly one we have to address here as well. Yeah, I think we polled the folks of Taylor County for what questions they might have and want us to ask of the candidates, and there is, as in many, there's no shortage at the county commission level.
Not.
But as we try to pull them together, one of those, and right off the bat, is Wendy, are you planning to be a full-time commissioner? And I think the sentiment here is how much can we count on you as a commissioner, and how availability and all of those things.
All right. Well, first of all, I think being a commissioner, part of the responsibility of being a commissioner is being engaged in the community. And I'm not going to pick on any of the commissioners, but I don't know of anything that they're involved in. I mean, they may be. But I'm involved in 10 different nonprofits in the community, and it helps people across all spectrums of society. I founded the Tigard Valley Chamber of Commerce, which have had a difficult time getting up and running because we don't have enough money to hire an employee to go out there and beat the bushes and try to get membership. So there's one thing. I founded the Taylor County Project Hope Food Bank about 15 years ago, and it's still going. And we have Brian Smith, he's our director, and he's doing a fantastic job, and he's going in lots of different directions, trying to build on that, with the Adventure Club and all the other projects he's got going. And I've been president of that since its inception. I've been the president of the Family Resource Network for 8 years. Now I'm vice president, I think, for 4 years. I founded the Child Advocacy Center, which helps try to give children an environment to be interviewed, and if they've been abused, where they don't feel threatened, like going to the police station, where they feel like maybe they've done something wrong. And we've built on the food bank by creating a community garden where people can come and share in the production of crops if they share in the labor. I have been working with other counties, not just Taylor County, but I'm on the board of the Solid Waste Task Force in Mon County, and it promotes recycling. Now, I've tried working with some of the people at Solid Waste Authority here. I haven't in a while, but several years ago I did, and it was kind of a clique, and they really didn't want my help. So, I mean, but I get out there and I get engaged in the community, and I think that one of the best things to do is you only get as much out of the community as you put into it. And I get a lot of reward from going out and volunteering. I mean, I work with the Tigard Valley State Park Foundation. I go out and volunteer with them and make apple butter at Fall Fest every year. Actually, I missed this year, so I have to back up on that one. I mean, there's so many things that I'm involved in, I can't even remember what all of them are.
Sure. Well, so vectoring off of that a bit, but saying you mentioned engagement, and one of the themes here was all around transparency and engaging the community. And I guess the question to you is if you're able to be a commissioner, is it important to you, or do you see that lacking currently, or what would you be doing as a commissioner to help increase transparency? And I always talk about this being a two-way street, because folks have to want to be engaged and have to get engaged, but also from a leadership perspective, we expect proactive.
Well, I mean, I think. Getting more, I mean, social media is really a major thing in everybody's life now. I think from 8 to 80. And I think that there needs to be maybe a blog and telling the people what's going on with the county commission, what we need to do, what we've been trying to do, and get engagement from the community as what they want to see done. I think a lot of people don't know what's going on at the county commission on that level because there's lack of transparency. We need to have cameras in there so people can watch all of the proceedings. We need to have at least weekly meetings. I believe that there should be an office there, and each commissioner should spend at least 2 full days there rotating out through the week, taking Sunday off. And, full 8-hour day, residing in the county courthouse.
Okay. So one of the things, again, just kind of connecting down the path so that you get transparency, but then there's also, there's a theme and a sentiment out there of certainly the county leadership feels less proactive than it should be. And a lot of the terms that were used is, that they're hearing is things saying, well, that hasn't been brought before me, that hasn't been brought in front of me, I haven't seen anybody bring that. And so the question to you is, how proactive of a leader will you be in the county, or do you perceive that as well?
Well, I think that we can have articles in the county commission should have articles in the paper every week about what has happened at not the newspaper shouldn't be responsible. The county commission should engage the newspaper and say, look, this is what we've been working on, this is what we'd like to see, and ask for engagement.
Okay. One of the other things too is about revitalizing structures, and I think the city has done some things, certainly. I don't know how much partnering is going on between the city and county on that, but the city has offered, the matching grant on the facades, and they've obviously been demolishing several buildings and spent quite a bit of money there. The question is around, well, what is the county doing? What should the county doing? What would you, the candidate, if you're to be elected, what would you do in regard to either matching that kind of program and working with the city, or also doing those kind of programs outside of the city and the county?
No, it's all part of collaboration, and they should be working together to do whatever's possible within the city and beyond the city to promote, businesses, whether, it's redoing the facades on the buildings. I think that the city and the county need to work together to acquire the Willard Hotel and the B&O from Vandalia. Vandalia's been sitting on those for decades, and they're going to start falling apart again because they don't keep up with the maintenance. I think we need to work on whatever it's going to take to get those buildings in the possession of the county and or city, or as a combined ownership. I had a vision while I was a delegate to, everybody says, well, it's going to cost too much money to rebuild and revitalize the Willard Hotel. It's full of asbestos. I said, well, we've got the Printingtown Correctional Facility. Those people, they've gotten into trouble. What we need to do is to try to get some training programs to teach them a vocation so that when they get out, they actually have something they can do that can make some money at and make a good living. And of course, it could partner with the community to where they could also have a training program for other people in the community. We could use the Willard Hotel as a training facility for remediating asbestos. Half the buildings on the correctional facility are full of asbestos. They've been shut down because of that. They could be remediated and brought back to life. But the Willard Hotel, you can't stop at asbestos. There's plaster, there's plumbing, there's electrical, carpentry. On and on. That would be a perfect training facility. And then once we get it revitalized, then we could do almost anything with it. I've had people suggest, why don't we talk to Pierpont College to put in a satellite on one of the floors. I think that's a great idea. It would make it easier for the students that graduate high school to have a venue for continuing their education right here in Taylor County.
Sure. Transportation is another issue that came up. It was pretty common, and the talk around bus service, and I know there was some effort in the past, and maybe the county and the city, and I don't know where all that went exactly, but obviously we don't have a bus service here today. So do you have a thought on that or a comment around bus service?
Actually, I was part of an attempt to spearhead bus service in the county as working with the Family Resource Network several years ago, and I had talked to the Morgantown.
Was it Mountain Line? Is that?
I was trying to remember if that was Preston County or Morgantown. But anyways, the transit authority there, and they had grant money that they could have bought a bus and paid partial salary to a bus driver, but the Taylor County Commission would have to, I think, if I remember right, put up $20,000 to help pay the salary of the bus driver, until it became sustainable, self-sustainable. And they just didn't see the value in it.
Interesting. Okay. Was it based on a study or anything? Do you recall? I mean, did they have data backing that, or?
We had some studies done, and I can't remember what the results of that study was.
There certainly seemed to be some interest. You get mixed messages from folks,
yeah.
but there certainly is some interest. It'd be interesting to see what those numbers play out.
I could probably dig those up.
Hey, one of the things too, and you mentioned this already, so maybe, but there was a little bit of an angle. This is obviously economic development. Everybody's thinking, how do we spur economic development in the area? And there were some folks just reaching out about, or thinking and asking us about, what about a collaborative or an incentive to have bread and breakfasts and those kind of places here for places to stay, because people are saying we've got these great things, we have limited lodging with the lodge and the hotel, and is there something additional? And there's been talk about a chain hotel won't come here. What kind of solutions are you going to bring to the table or think that might be available to us?
Well, initially, I mean, the Maiden Mother's Day licensing program, I think, is something that really has a lot of potential.
Yep.
I think if we were to bring in the Pierpont College, if we got the Willard Hotel, I would like to see an indoor year-round farmers market on the first floor. We could attract more people. I mean, we've got the railroad here, and there's a lot of railroad enthusiasts out there that would like to come and visit a railroad town. I mean, we could revitalize the community in a way to work on the strengths that we have, and that's another one of the strengths that we have, and that's where I think that we need to start focusing is on our strengths.
Yeah, I hear you, and I think a lot of people at home agree with you on that. One of the things that we can't ignore, we're here in the community, is the oil and gas, the coal, those opportunities. We've got a coal mine here, but we certainly have the oil and gas, and it's here and it's coming here, and coming here potentially in a big way. And trying to mix in all the questions together, the sentiment is, okay, how can we take advantage of this opportunity that's coming, but at the same time, not mortgage our futures with our resources, but also not let history repeat itself in terms of what happened in our. You look at our history, coal timber. You look at our history.
Yeah, I mean, extraction industries is a boom and bust industry.
Sure.
They come in, they extract everything, and then all of a sudden there's a vacuum, and all the jobs go away, and then you have a ghost town again. I think that we can work with them, and one of the things I'd like to see is these companies that are extracting all this gas is to provide that gas to our communities rather than building these pipelines to the East Coast and shipping it to Japan and Europe. I mean, let's help our own people first. I mean, that's one of the things that's crazy. I think as a state, we need to look at maybe putting a fee on all the gas that goes out of state and then giving them a tax break on any gas they leave in the state. That way we can build the infrastructure, heat every home in West Virginia with West Virginia natural gas. I mean, why are we shipping it across the ocean? I think it's crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of folks that agree with you as well, I can tell you from the questions we received. Hey, so as is customary on this program, we offer you the last word to the voters of Taylor County. What is it you'd like to tell them?
Man, I probably already said this. And one of the things I truly believe and I try to live is that you only get as much out of the community as you put into it, and stay engaged because it's your community and it can all be as good as you make it. Thank you.
Mike Manypenny, County Commission. Good luck.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.